2016 Community Redevelopment Agency meeting to order. It's approximately 6:30 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Shelley. Board Member Burgess.
Here.
Board Member Roth.
Here.
Board Member Williams.
Here.
Board Member Maldonado. Vice Chairwoman Faircloth.
Here.
Chairman Porter.
Here. Any deletions, additions, deferrals? None? Tab 1. Mr. Attorney? Did you?
Tab 1 is a resolution of the Board of Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving an agreement with Landmark Entertainment Group, LLC for the completion of concept design services related to the development of a new 21st century library facility, waiving competitive bidding in accordance with 2411.1A2 of the City Code of Ordinance, providing for an implementation and effective date.
Okay, so tab 1 is actually approval of the minutes. So is there a motion to approve the minutes? Movements, is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Tab 2 is the resolution for the what the attorney just spoke about. Mr. Manager, you want to talk to that?
I'll start addressing that item.
Steve?
Tab 1 is an agreement with a corporation known as Landmark Entertainment Group. They are an internet. I'm sorry, Tab 2. We recommend that the mayor and council approve the attached resolution and authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement for professional services with Landmark Entertainment Group in substantially the form presented to complete a concept design and to provide master planning services for an Imaginarium virtual library in downtown Homestead. As you all know, at our last month, the city manager came before you and made a presentation about the Imaginarium library, and in order to start the process that we need to follow to bring that dream to life, there are some beginning steps that we have to take. The concept designs, the boards that you've seen before, are basically staff's best efforts of, imagining what a library might look, what an Imaginarium might look like. But we need to involve some professional theme designers to get them on board at this early stage to help us come up with an actual conceptual drawings and help us master plan the project from start to finish. And we really need to do that at this stage rather than later on, because it sort of sets the stage for everything that we do in the future. How are we going to build this project? How might we finance this project beyond the CDBG Section 108 funds? And how does the Imaginarium that we've dreamed, how does it become a reality? The company that we have are looking to engage, Landmark Entertainment Group, you will see in your backup that they are one of the preeminent theme designers in the nation, perhaps the world, and they do work all over the world. They have done work for Universal Studios, tremendous work, probably work that you've all seen and known. They've done work for just about every major hotel chain in the country to help develop themes throughout the country. And they have the wherewithal and the knowledge of how to shepherd a project like this from start to finish. And we look to that expertise and have been, quite frankly, almost blown away by their expertise. So much so that we felt compelled to come to you today and ask for you to allow the CRA to contribute $110,000 for this very first phase of this project. It may be the only opportunity the CRA gets to actually contribute to this very important project in the CRA that's going to tremendously benefit the residents of all of our surrounding residents. So we're here. We've decided that this company, and because these are professional services, we do have the option of coming before you and waiving the normal procurement procedures. We think this is important enough, and we're anxious to get started at this time, and we're asking for your support and your approval.
Questions from the board?
Yes,
Mr. Williams?
thank you. You know I'm going to have some questions tonight. Where are we getting this 110 from now, you say again? From what budget item?
It's from our budget. It's coming from.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to speak up.
Sorry. It's from our budget, and it's coming from our marketing account, which had money in it that we had earmarked to market several of the projects.
How much is that?
About $100,000.
$100,000.
Yeah.
And where's the remaining 10 coming?
Where did the remaining 10 come? Oh, consultant services,
Consulting services.
which we did not have enough money in.
Are you familiar with the grand jury report that came out? Have you read that?
I am.
Yeah. On page 16 of that, it talks about that the things of this nature of projects, how is that going to eliminate blight and slum in the area? How can we justify this?
Well, we can justify this because our CRA plan definitely calls for the elimination of slum and blight, but it also calls for improvements to the community, to the fabric of the community, it makes education a critical component of our CRA plan, and I think the library actually kind of falls right in there. It not only provides an opportunity for people for a lot of people who have never been exposed to some of these modern media methods to interact regularly, and it's going to have a significant educational component. It's going to clearly, it's part of our overall downtown redevelopment plan, which when realized, once we realize all of these plans, will provide income, will provide jobs.
So you're saying this $110,000 investment from TIF dollars of a Slight and Blum area to go towards a professional service company to do what again? How are we eliminating? I mean, I'm just being very critical because at this point in time, I've always been critical of the spending of CRA. I've always been critical of such, and I just cannot sit and justify giving $110,000 when I know that $110,000 could be used in a much different way for some of the residents over within the Southwest area, which these dollars are developed from. And I understand the concept. I just think at this point in time, I cannot support $110,000 coming out for this kind of in light of all of the scrutiny on CREs, I just don't think that it's ethically challenged to do something like this. I just don't understand how you can justify that saying that all of the explanation that you have just
Councilman,
given. I just don't get it. I don't buy into that at all. I just don't think how, as a board, we can justify giving $110,000 or paying out such in this kind of manner, knowing the plight and poverty and stricken people over in the Southwest area are in. I just don't see this.
Mayor, if I could address that, or I think the question was to Steve Scott, and I don't think you could find a better project for the downtown.
I'm not saying the project is not good. I'm saying where the money is coming from is I have an issue with. I think for $110,000 in what we're trying to do, I think it can be better spent and utilized in a very different way, of more so bricks and mortar than a conceptual piece. It's really towing the line for me. I just, in good conscience, cannot do. I mean, I just can't. It's not justified. It's just not. So how is it that, you plan to justify
I
this
can-
between your comp plan of your educational, of what you have just said?
Yeah, I can answer that if you'd like. So this project is likely to cost anywhere from $4 to $6 million to complete. The CRA has, if their contribution of $110,000 out of a $4 to $6 million project, that's really all we anticipate asking for from the CRA. But we do think that this project fits across all the categories. We think the first thing is that, as you all know from the plan that we had presented last month, this is one piece of a larger project to revitalize the downtown, which has been struggling economically for decades. We also believe that right now, we think many of the residents of the CRA make use of the library that's currently on US 1, and we believe that this will be closer. We think it'll be more accessible. We think property values will go up. We think the more people that come to the downtown creates a halo effect with new retail and new jobs. And so $110,000 for a project that could ultimately bring thousands and thousands of people to the downtown, we think is a small investment from the CRA.
And as you have said, George, just a few moments ago, that the downtown has been suffering for quite some time, and so have which is inclusive of the Southwest, has also been suffering for decades, for centuries, or a century. And so you parallel that to $110,000 professional service contract. I don't get, and then your rationale of saying that the downtown has suffered for decades. Well, what about the people who are suffering in areas that are just not sustainable to even? It's a shame if this is passed tonight to come out of the CRA for a conceptual design service. I just don't see that. I don't understand that. It's not comprehending to the justification of that. It's just not. The people who live in that area deserve, I believe, the same kind of intensity that you're using tonight, Mr. Director, to find dollars for this kind of stuff, to be creative, to bring those kind of affordable housing opportunities, economic development to the areas that the people that's living there can really take advantage of, and can really see and understand and conceptualize the area in which they're living in. But if you're driving from Chrome and you hit Flagler, you're in a whole different city almost. And if we're building up one aspect of the area and the less is still left behind, and a block away, you're in poverty. I don't quite understand the rationale on how you want us to accept $110,000 coming out of the TIF dollars from the CRA that's meant to eliminate blight and slum, period. There are things over there that needs to be changed, and this just doesn't make any sense to me. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Councilman Williams, I understand your sensitivity to this because I know you're extremely passionate about ensuring that dollars remain in the Southwest community. If I can just put on my educator hat for just a couple of minutes. As I'm a councilwoman and an educator, one of my goals is to increase the educational experiences and opportunities for the children in our community. And when I think about this project, I think of access to quality education. And if you think about the schools that are in the CRA in the Southwest District, you look at the simulated grades for those schools. Laura Saunders' simulated grade is an F. West Homestead simulated grade is a D. Homestead Senior High is a C. Homestead Middle School, I believe, is a D. I think it's important for us as a community to do our part to provide those enhanced educational experiences and opportunities, particularly to these students. And on this Thursday, as a matter of fact, the city manager and I are meeting with Dr. Lawrence Feldman, our school board member, to talk about this idea with him and see how he can partner with us. And I'm sure we can work with him to ensure that the kids within the CRA in the Southwest District has increased access to this type of facility, because I can tell you the current library, those kids aren't attending because there's no draw from them to attend it. But I feel with this would be a draw for those particular students to attend. And I feel as a community, it would help to provide those experiences to the children. So this is why I support this, because I recognize the value that it can have, particularly to the kids in the Southwest and in the CRA district. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Williams?
Yes, thank you. And Vice Mayor, you know, I really respect, because I respect you in your advocacy for your tenacity for education. And I think it's very, very important. I'm not fighting the design or any of that. What I'm interested in is, why does it need to come from 110,000 needs to come out of here? Couldn't we find it from somewhere else that we normally find other things from besides the CRA? That's my whole issue. And I think that, you know, in going forward, you know, even in reading the report, it doesn't even mention anything about education at all in the report. And I think that going forward, that if this passed tonight, that these things like this, when you bring it to us, you bring us pictures and stuff, what you're saying we adopted in our comp plan and all of that, you know, it provide those type of evidential, you know, pieces, so that when we're making decisions up here, we can see not just what you're telling me. And I just have still a concern about pulling $110,000 out to do a conception design. Not that it's going into a brick and mortar. It's a design, just that. So if that is the case, I can see if the building was being built, and then we can put money towards that. But the design service of it, I can't picture. I don't understand that. But if the building was being built and all of that, then I can see allocating dollars amounts to contribute towards that that the people will be able to see and then take full advantage of. But as a conceptual design service, no.
Okay, this is a public hearing. I'll open up the public hearing at this time. Anyone would like to speak for or against, you're welcome to at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments, questions from council? Is there a motion?
Move it.
Is there a second? Second. Any final comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Maldonado? Board Member Burgess?
Yes.
Board Member Williams?
No.
Board Member Roth?
Yes.
Board Member Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Fairclough?
Yes.
Chairman Porter?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Tab 3. Stephen?
Tab 3 is a resolution of the Board of the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the allocation of commercial improvement grant funds, approving grant agreement, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date. Tab 3, I need to start by saying and apologizing that prior to the meeting this afternoon, I was reviewing the packet that is before you, and we realized that the applicant, Entol Industries and Sanborn Inc., they submitted an application back in 2014 where the commercial enhancement grant had been put on hold for a year. However, they've updated their application, and we've provided each of you with the updated application. And I'm just going to apologize for the clerical oversight. The information is, other than we have updated corporate documents, which were, because they change every year, and other such information like their business license and so forth. There's a slight modification to the work that's being done, but beyond that, it's the same. It's essentially the same amount of money. These grants are for up to $25,000. They're asking for 23,559 while providing a matching fund for 25%, which they will provide services and in-kind services. And there's something I think that I would be remiss if I didn't point out about this application, and that is that the reason Entol Industries are doing these improvements to the property, because they've been there for a long time, but they're going to be moving out. And to be moving in, they have already signed a lease with a corporation, with a national corporation, U.S. Pipe, who is going to come into this property and then invest what I'm told is another $200,000 in upgrades to the equipment and machinery inside and to the outside of the building, and operate a facility that will employ about 20 to 30 people by the end of the year. Now, our agreement is not with U.S. Pipe. Our agreement is with the property owner and Entol. However, I think, it's important to note that this money is being used and leveraged so that a new tenant can come in, and that new tenant can provide good jobs in our traditionally our industrial area, and they are industrial type jobs in that it's a huge national pipe company that's coming in. So I just wanted to point that out, and the applicant is here if there are questions, but we think this is just a good opportunity for the city to make a rather modest investment, for the CRA to make a modest investment, and hopefully we'll have some big benefits and have a good relationship with the new company that comes in.
Any questions from the board?
Yes, Mayor.
Mr. Williams?
Procedurally, last week you brought this to the Southwest Advisory Board. You brought them old information. Let me finish. Today you bring us new information that they approve based on what you had given them. Now this is more intense in detail than what you provided within the package of what you said that it has been updated. Is there a reason why that it would leave your office, go to a committee, have them approve it, or go through their process? We get here on Tuesday, and we see this for the first time. What happened?
Well, what happened was a clerical oversight. I do want to make it clear that the Southwest the Southwest Advisory Committee had the new application, so they saw everything. And what happened is in the process of putting the agenda together, apparently the old application was attached, and I take full responsibility for that. But at this point, we don't think there is any real material difference. The amount of money they are asking for has not changed. They made a few tweaks to the exact work that they need to do, because now they actually have a lease with a new company to come in. And I just didn't feel, because we could have pulled it from the agenda and come back, but I just didn't feel that it would be fair to the applicant to, especially because they have a tenant coming in May 1st and they need some time to do the work. I didn't think it would be fair to the applicant to punish them. But as far as, it was a mistake made, absolutely there was a mistake made, and we're here, just suggesting that we hope that you all will agree that it's not a significant enough mistake to require
Let me ask you a question. Let me finish before you go into all of that.
Okay.
When do we, in the eligible expenses for grants like this, it's not listed of ACs, air conditioned units. If you look on your grant on page 7 of the eligibility process or criteria of expenses, that is not covered. The decorative ceiling and replacement of a slump pump with new unit, when did that become part of our eligible expenses for
I, I'm not aware of limits. I mean, as far as
Are you familiar with the application?
I'm familiar with the application. I have it
Okay.
right in front of me, and I'm not familiar with I don't believe that there is anything improper about any of the items that they're seeking.
But there's an
reimbursement.
eligible expense that we have outlined as a policy that they're asking for that is not covered.
Sitting here today, we don't know of any limit.
How could this go through your office, not match with what we have done of what's covered and what's not covered, and then bring to us things that's not covered?
All right, as far as we are aware, what's covered is improvements to the interior of the building, and these are improvements to the interior of the building.
You do understand what I'm asking you. On page 7 of Commercial Enhancement Grant, it lists all of the eligible things that are listed that is covered. Why are we covering things that we have not, that's not supposed to be covered? And when you're talking about inside or improvements, those improvements that you're mentioning are not on the list. They're not covered. How can we?
Elizabeth, do you have
this.
I don't have the document that you're reading off of right now. I would need to see it.
It's on the website. You said you had it in front of you.
I don't have the website. No, I have the application in front of me. I don't have the application packet.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. I don't see us passing this, knowing that some of these items are not covered, and then we're given an appearance that, I think when it hits your office, it goes through your process. They ought to be, when they fill out the items that are to be improved, we go to our list and say, this is not covered, this is covered, this is not covered, based on what our policy and direction is of the grant application or process. And you've not done that. I don't understand what the reason is.
It's my understanding that we have done that and that these items are covered, but I would have to do research. I don't have the information.
I don't want to hold up the applicant. I think that we should approve it, but I think that, some of these things that you're given the appearance of approving, they're not in there eligible at all.
I would be happy if you decide to pass this tonight. I would be happy to do the research and get the information back to you as soon as I possibly can.
I don't need the information. I know what's covered. It's for your.
Okay.
You should know this to bring to us before it gets to us. This should not even go through. We should not even be seeing this. The applicant should not have an expectation that when they put in for ACs and it's not even in what's covered, and we get to us, I read everything, Steve.
I know that, sir, and I guess all I can say is
I don't take this lightly.
But Mayor, I don't object to pulling this application if the allegation is that this is uncovered expense, then we can go ahead and double check it just to be sure. We don't think it is, but if it is, then we'll pull it. I mean, it's not, this applicant has come and asked for this grant. It's fairly typical, and so, but on the other hand, it's not an emergency. They want the application. If they want to come here and make their case, I'm happy to do that, but this is, this is not our project, and this is an applicant that came through, and whatever the councilman is reading from, we're happy to look at and see that there's any concern, if that's what you'd prefer.
When would be the next opportunity for the applicant to get in front of the CRA board?
We can schedule a small CRA for the next council meeting.
Mayor, my recommendation is we move it, the process forward. I don't want to hold up the application.
Okay.
I think we should move it. I'm raising the concerns that when these, applications come through the office, before it hits us, it should be properly vetted, and what's covered is not, it should not be covered, and they should be told. Then they have anticipation, and now they're saying they have people moving in and they have to get this place ready, and then they have a certain budgeted amount that they have done. So move the application forward. You know, I don't want to hold up the applicants because I think they've done what they were required to do. It's on our part.
But Mayor,
So we need to make either we add to the list, you know, or we, when it comes to them, that they are very diligent in their work before it goes forward. That's all.
Mayor, in light of the allegation that the CRA director has submitted something that does not comply with the city rules, I'm not comfortable recommending that this thing goes forward, because either this board decides they want to issue a grant or they don't. And so the idea that information was read out here and it doesn't comply with something, I think the councilman has a right to have us check it. But in terms of this thing is not proper and it doesn't comply and all that, you know, I don't, quite frankly, I don't think it's fair to have that dumped on us tonight. And I also don't feel that we should recommend moving it forward if that's the councilman's concern. And I would suggest that we withdraw it, and then we can come back once we clarify what the allegation is.
Mr. Shelley.
The manager actually covered the point that because from what I follow from the discussion here, that's my concern as well, is that if we're saying that there's items that are listed as an expense that are going to be paid for by the CRA that aren't allowed under our plan or are not supposed to be being paid for, then how's that? If we pass that tonight, then we're either allowing something to occur that shouldn't occur, or, you know, they can't be paid for. So I guess that's my concern. I need clarification on that if we're going to move it forward, because I don't want to approve something that is in derivation and then it sets precedents going forward that we've done it in the past. So I need clarity.
The manager is suggesting that we not move it forward tonight, and that we will review it and we will come up with an answer to the question raised by the councilman, and if we feel it's appropriate to bring it forward next week at a very short CRA meeting with one item, we can do that.
And I guess for my clarity, is that what's being stated though? Is that there are expenses on this tab 3 that are not allowed to be paid for or should not be paid for out of this grant?
But I don't even know what document he's reading from, so
I'm reading from our document. Here it is, right here. You can pull it up from your iPad.
None of us have that document.
It says,
But here's the thing. Someone make a motion to defer this so that we can get this under control, so that at the end of the day, everybody votes on something that they're comfortable with. Because at this particular point, there's questions as to where we are. So it's very simple that, you know, we want to process this as quickly as possible for the applicant, but there needs to be some clarity to the board as to what we've done proper or not. So is there a motion to defer this and to as quickly as possible to get this back in front of a CRA board? Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll move it to defer it before that be heard by the next council meeting.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving forward. We are on, tab 4? Tab 4.
Tab 4 is a resolution of the Community Redevelopment Agency Board of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the allocation of residential improvement grant funds, approving grant agreement, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Mayor,
Mr. Williams?
I have another concern with this application.
What's that?
The problem I have is that based on the CDBG or emergency and facade, what guidelines are they in?
First of all, we have combined the emergency home repair grant, housing rehabilitation, and facade improvement grant. In the emergency home repair grant, and the first type of work that we will always do, because it is a life, health, and safety matter, we do the roof. And the roof in this instance, and in most instances, eats up, you know, most of the $15,000 residential grant that we are asking for. Once we finish that, if there's enough money left, we do the windows and shutters. Again, the emergency home repair. So we are quite confident, especially with shutters, that we're gonna, we're not gonna be able to do much more than that. So in this particular case, although we can, because we have combined the programs that you named into just the residential grant program, we did that back in 2014. We can combine them, but in this instance, I would say this is an emergency home repair grant, and that's, the terminology that's used in the application.
Okay. Would you help me understand if we have consolidated the names or we have consolidated programs, why is there still an option to be chosen from? Because it puts us, according to the application, it puts them into a whole different category based on what they check off.
No, it really doesn't. What was checked off here is an emergency home repair grant, and the funds that are
You
being
do agree that it
recommended-
doesn't exist anymore, though? You say we consolidated, that it's not an emergency
The
officer.
categories still exist. They can now all be combined. We've combined all of the programs into one residential grant program, but the categories still exist. Some items might be an emergency home repair, some items might be facade. But in this instance, this is going to be an emergency home repair because the money will be consumed by the roofing and certainly by the shutters.
All right, and the supplemental information that we require, did you update this application too?
Yeah, this was not an old application, so we have all the current information, all of the current information regarding the incomes. We verified the bank accounts to make sure that there are no other sources of income that are being withheld, and we did all of that here. There are the only information that we wouldn't necessarily attach are any sensitive information, releases for bank accounts and that sort of thing. But this is not the same situation as the last item.
Okay, so we're going to be covering what then exactly?
In this case, we're going to be covering the roof, mostly the roof, and then as much as we can to help with windows.
The windows?
And shutters.
Okay. All right. And the windows are under the
The windows are
facade?
actually... No, the windows are a safety issue. In fact, the windows, unfortunately, are broken.
Right, but it's not listed in here as such.
It says bathroom window needs to
Under
change,
your
the glass
application
is
on what's
broken.
covered. It's not listed under what's eligible for.
Yeah, we don't, I mean, I don't,
It
we don't have
says-
a policy in here, but these items are clearly covered, and they're what we generally, almost all of our projects involve the roofing, and many of them involve the windows as well.
Okay. Again, it says new doors or windows if damaged by
The
what
windows,
hurricane shows. So we're repairing one window, replacing all windows. All windows are broken?
we're going to do, well, if we're going to provide shutters, then no, we're not necessarily replacing, we're replacing windows that need to be replaced.
But the shutters come in under which program?
The shutters, emergency home repair grant.
Okay. All right. It doesn't, but okay. That's not what it says.
I'm happy to withdraw this one as well. Mayor, I would withdraw my recommendation on this one as well, and we could withdraw this one as well.
Okay, is there a motion to defer this item as well? Is there a motion to defer this item as well? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any reports from manager, CRA? Any public comments at this time? Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion. Moving to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Give us about 5 minutes and we'll go right into the committee of the whole.